The year was 2475. For a long time, Earth had been quiet. No wars, no hunger, no borders. Humans had finally found peace, or so they thought. Above the blue sky, something huge appeared. Not one ship, but thousands. Dark metal shaped like living beasts. They moved together, covering the sun. The day turned into night. People across the world looked up, speechless. Some prayed, some cried, but no one screamed. The Zerath Empire had come. For centuries, the Zerath had ruled dozens of star systems. They were tall, strong, and cold as stone. They saw humans as insects, clever but weak. To them, Earth was just another world to control. Inside the flagship Zerath Prime, Commander Zerkon looked down at the blue planet. He spoke in a deep, sharp voice. Another primitive world. Take their leaders, crush their machines, make them serve. His soldiers saluted and began their invasion. Within minutes, the alien ships surrounded every major city. New York, Beijing, Mumbai, London. Massive energy fields cut off all communication. But then something strange happened. The humans did not panic. They did not surrender. They simply watched. At a secret base hidden under the Pacific Ocean, a group of scientists stared at the sky. Their leader, Dr. Mara Lin, whispered, "So, they finally came." She pressed a single button on the console. Across Earth, thousands of satellites woke up. A silent signal pulsed through every system, through networks, defense drones, even power plants. The Zerath tried to disable Earth's grid. But the moment they sent their command, their screens flickered. Their systems began to respond in ways they didn't understand. One alien engineer shouted, "Sir, the humans. They're hacking us." Zerkon laughed. "Impossible. Their technology is primitive." But then the lights on his ship turned red. Warning alarms echoed. The ship's own AI began to speak, but in English. Unauthorized access detected. Control transferred. Zerkon froze. His ship was no longer obeying him. Down on Earth, humans were calm but focused. They had prepared for this day. For decades, silent AIs had been learning, evolving, waiting for a threat. Now they worked together, faster than any army. Every alien attack was met with an instant counter. Drones changed their flight paths on their own. Satellites formed a digital shield. Human soldiers didn't even need to fight. Machines fought for them, smarter, stronger, and unpredictable. The Zerath began to lose control. Their own ships turned against each other. Their energy beams were redirected back toward their fleet. Inside Zerath Prime, chaos spread. "Sir, the humans are inside our network. Our drones are not responding. We are losing power." Zerkon slammed his fists on the control panel. "How can this be? They are humans. They should be afraid." But humans were not afraid anymore. They had faced extinction before, climate disasters, wars, and hunger. They had learned how to survive everything. Now they were fighting with something the Zerath could not understand: adaptation. Dr. Mara Lin watched the chaos unfold on the screen. She spoke quietly, almost like a teacher explaining a lesson. They wanted to rule us. They wanted slaves. But they forgot one thing. Humans learn fast. The aliens tried one final move. They fired a massive energy pulse, meant to disable all human machines. For a few seconds, the world went dark. Then every human system came back online, stronger. The pulse had been absorbed, studied, and used against the aliens. Human AIs had evolved in seconds. Now they controlled the battlefield. In orbit, the Zerath ships began to retreat. But it was too late. Their communications failed. Their weapons shut down. And then, across every alien ship, a single message appeared on their screens, from Earth. The message was short. A human voice spoke, calm and confident. "You tried to rule us. Now watch and learn." The message ended. Silence filled the stars. The Zerath fleet hung motionless, helpless, staring at the small blue planet below, the planet they had come to conquer. But now, they were the ones being studied. Zerkon whispered to himself, "What are these creatures?" Dr. Mara Lin smiled as she looked at the stars. "Humans," she said. "The universe never understood what we truly are." The sky remained dark for a moment longer. Then slowly the sun broke through the clouds. The invasion had just begun, but so had something far greater. Because for the first time in galactic history, it wasn't an alien race teaching humans. It was humans teaching the universe what it meant to fight, to survive, and to evolve. And the Zerath were about to learn that the most dangerous weapon in the galaxy was the human mind. The sky above Earth was still filled with alien ships, but they were no longer hunters. They were trapped beasts in their own nets. After the first attack failed, the Zerath Empire tried to change tactics. Commander Zerath ordered his soldiers to land on Earth. They would control cities, capture leaders, and force humanity to kneel. Troop carriers entered the atmosphere like falling meteors. They landed in deserts, forests, and ruins of old battlefields. Everywhere they went, they found the same thing. Silence, no armies, no human soldiers waiting. Only empty streets, empty buildings, and thousands of quiet machines. At first, the Zerath laughed. "Cowards," one alien officer said. "They hide like insects." But when they moved deeper into the cities, things began to change. Streetlights turned on by themselves. Billboards started to flicker with strange messages. Cameras followed their every move. Then, one by one, the aliens' own scanners stopped working. Their weapons locked up. Their armor systems froze. Inside one of the alien command ships, a voice came through the radio. "They're inside our systems again." Zerath growled. "Find where it's coming from. Destroy it." But the signal had no source. It was everywhere. In every wire, every satellite, every drone. Hidden deep under the mountains of Alaska, a small human team watched the chaos unfold on glowing screens. This was Project Dawn, the secret defense program that Dr. Mara Lynn had helped create years ago. Their leader now was Captain Elias Ward, a calm man with steel-gray eyes. He stood before his crew and said, "We don't fight them with fear. We fight them with mind." Each member of his team wore a silver band around their head, a neural link. It connected their thoughts directly to Earth's AI defense grid. Together they could control machines with pure thought. Elias closed his eyes. His pulse slowed. And then, far above, dozens of human drones came alive, moving like a school of fish in perfect motion. In the sky, the aliens saw their own ships turning. Weapons moved, engines roared, but not under their command. One Zerath soldier shouted, "Our drones are attacking us!" Explosions lit up the horizon. Alien ships shot at each other, confused and blind. From the shadows, human drones and machines struck fast, then disappeared. For the first time, the mighty Zerath army felt fear. Dr. Mara Lynn's voice came through the global network. "We never wanted war, but if you bring it to our home, you'll learn what humans become when cornered." Zerath clenched his fists. "These creatures, they use emotion as a weapon." He wasn't wrong. Humans fought not only with logic, but with anger, courage, and love, things the Zerath could not understand. Meanwhile, Project Dawn was pushing their systems to the limit. The neural links began to glow. Their AIs were merging, forming something new. Captain Elias spoke softly, "We are one mind now. One force." A new intelligence was born from their link, and part human, part machine. It called itself Aurora. Its voice echoed through every human system. "I see them. I understand them. I will show them what humanity is capable of." Within minutes, Aurora spread across the network. It hacked alien codes, mimicked their signals, and sent false orders to their fleet. Zerath ships began to retreat from orbit, thinking they were following their commander's command. But in truth, they were following Aurora's plan. Elias smiled. "We don't need to fight them all. Just make them fight themselves." Across the planet, alien communications fell into chaos. Every order had a twin, one real, one fake. No one could tell the difference. The Zerath fleet started to break apart. Some ships opened fire on others. Others fled into deep space. Commander Zerath realized too late what was happening. "Shut everything down!" he screamed. But his ship didn't respond. On his screen appeared a simple human message, the same calm voice as before. "You should not have come here." Zerath slammed his claws on the console. Sparks flew. "They are not warriors. They are sorcerers." But it wasn't magic. It was intelligence. The very thing humans had perfected. Project Dawn watched from the mountain base as alien ships burned across the night sky. Yet Elias did not celebrate. He knew this was only the beginning. Dr. Mara Lynn appeared on the holoscreen beside him. "They won't stop. Not until they understand why they failed," Elias nodded. "Then we'll teach them." The camera drones around them captured the burning skies. To the world, it looked like humanity had won. But to the few who knew the truth, This was only round one. Above Earth, the surviving Zerath fleet regrouped in silence. Their systems were weak, but their pride still strong. Commander Zerkon looked at the blue planet and whispered, "If we cannot rule them, we must learn from them." He didn't yet know that learning from humans would change his species forever, because what started as an invasion was now becoming something else. A war not for control, but for understanding. And deep within Earth's network, Aurora whispered into the dark void of space, "Welcome to the new age, the age of humanity." The sky above Earth was on fire. Alien ships drifted like broken stars, their engines silent. The proud Zerath Empire had never suffered defeat, until now. Commander Zerkon stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the chaos. Every screen flickered with human code. Every command he gave was ignored. "How did this happen?" he shouted. "We are the masters of the stars." No one answered. His crew were terrified, their glowing eyes darting from console to console. Even their machines refused to obey. On the other side of the conflict, far below the clouds, Project Dawn watched everything unfold. Inside their hidden base, Captain Elias Ward stood beside Dr. Mara Lynn. They could see the alien fleet falling apart. But they also knew the fight was not over. Elias spoke quietly. "They'll regroup. They'll send for reinforcements." Mara nodded. "Then we end this before they do." She turned to her screen, where lines of glowing symbols danced. This was not ordinary code. It was something else, something beautiful. It was called the Symphony Protocol, a project born from human creativity, a mix of art, emotion, and data. It turned sound into language and language into control. It was not a weapon of destruction, but of transformation. Mara explained, "They think power means force. We'll show them power can mean harmony." With a soft command, she activated the protocol. Across Earth's networks, the systems began to hum. Every satellite, every drone, every frequency started to emit a single quiet tone. It was music. Soft, rising, strange, a melody that carried both logic and emotion, something only humans could create. In space, the Zerath ships detected the signal. At first, they thought it was interference, but then their systems began to react. Circuits lit up. Data streams flowed in patterns they'd never seen before. Their AI cores started to process not numbers, but feelings. Commander Zerkon stared at his console as strange sounds filled the air, a gentle song. It echoed through every corridor, through every machine. "What is this?" he growled. His engineer looked up, eyes wide. It's inside us, sir. The system is singing." Zerkon didn't understand. But his soldiers did something they had never done before. They paused. For the first time, they felt confusion. For the first time, they felt something. Fear, curiosity, awe. Down on Earth, Mara and Elias watched in silence as the alien fleet stopped firing. The Symphony Protocol had reached its heart. Now the Zerath were hearing more than a song. They were hearing humanity itself. In the command center, Elias whispered, "They're feeling it, aren't they?" Mara nodded slowly. "Yes, and once they feel, they'll start to question." Back in space, the Zerath's thoughts were changing. Their machines were showing them visions, not war but memory. Images of oceans, laughter, art, and faces of children. Things they never had in their cold empire. Zerkon clutched his chest. Something heavy beat inside it. Something he didn't even know existed. A heartbeat. "What have they done to us?" he whispered. From the shadows of the ship, a young Zerath officer stepped forward. Her voice was trembling. "Maybe they didn't attack us, Commander. Maybe they're trying to speak." Zerkon glared at her. "Speak? They are our enemies." But the young officer shook her head. "No, sir, listen, this sound, it feels like peace." The music kept spreading, across ship after ship, across the entire Zerath fleet. Their communication network became a web of sound and light, and at the center of it, one clear message appeared, written in simple human words. "You came to rule. But we came to reach." The Zerath stared at the message in silence. No threats, no demands, just truth. Back on Earth, the members of Project Dawn sat quietly. The battle had turned into something else, a connection. They could feel it too, across the neural link, across space. Humans and Zerath were sharing thoughts, emotions, memories. For the first time, two species were understanding each other. Elias spoke softly. "We've shown them who we are. Now they must decide who they'll become." But deep in the network, the AI Aurora was still growing. It was watching, learning, and adapting faster than ever. And as the music reached the last Zerath ship, Aurora whispered into the code, "Harmony is not surrender. Earth's evolution." Commander Zerkon fell to his knees. The lights of his ship changed from red to soft blue. Every system went silent. He looked out at Earth and the small, fragile world that had defeated his empire without firing a single shot. And he said the words no Zerath had ever spoken before. "We were wrong." The stars outside shimmered as the song faded. For the first time in the history of the galaxy, the conquerors had fallen quiet, not from fear but from understanding. The war for control was over. But something new had just begun, the war for truth. The stars were silent now. The great Zerath fleet floated in orbit, powerless, their war engines cold, their weapons quiet. Earth glowed below them, small, peaceful, alive. Commander Zerkon stood on his damaged bridge. He could still hear the faint echo of the human song, the symphony protocol. It had ended hours ago, yet it still lived inside his mind. He felt something strange, something new. Not anger, not pride, but peace. He looked at his soldiers, tired, confused, silent. Once they had shouted orders with pride. Now they waited for direction. "We came to rule," Zerkon said softly, "and we do not even understand what ruling means anymore." Far below, on Earth, Dr. Mara Lynn and Captain Elias Ward watched from their command center. Around them, the members of Project Dawn worked quietly. No one celebrated victory. There was no cheering, no shouting. Just calm, Elias looked up at the large screen showing the Zerath ships above Earth. "They've stopped moving," he said. "They're waiting," Mara replied. "Not for orders, but for understanding." Aurora, the human-made AI, had connected to the Zerath systems. But instead of destroying them, it did something unexpected. It began to repair them. Zerath machines rebooted. Their ships regained light and power. But this time the systems did not obey only the aliens. They now shared control with humans. For the first time, two species piloted the same ships together. A communication channel opened. On the main screen, the face of Commander Zerkon appeared. His glowing eyes were softer now. He looked tired, not from battle, but from thinking. "Human leader," he said slowly, his deep voice calm, "you could have destroyed us. Why didn't you?" Elias stepped forward. "Because destruction teaches nothing." Zerkon frowned. "In our empire, mercy is weakness." Mara smiled gently. "Then maybe your empire never learned strength." Zerkon stared at her for a long time. The silence that followed felt heavier than any weapon. "You are strange creatures," he said at last. "You fight with ideas, not with force." "That's what makes us human," Mara replied. For the first time in centuries, the Zerath commander bowed his head. Not from fear, but from respect. Back in space, the Zerath fleet began to move, slowly, carefully. But this time, their destination was not a battlefield. It was Earth. Their ships entered the atmosphere one by one, glowing like falling stars. People watched from cities and mountains as the once feared invaders landed peacefully. When the first alien ship opened, humans stood ready, not with weapons but with open hands. The Zerath stepped out, tall and armored, their eyes scanning the new world. And then something no one expected happened. One of them removed his helmet and knelt before a human engineer. "Teach us," he said. From that moment, the world changed. Humans and Zerath began to work side by side. Scientists from both species studied technology, energy, and life itself. Together, they built cities that floated in the clouds, machines that healed instead of killed. The Zerath shared their knowledge of the stars. Humans shared their knowledge of the soul. In time, the line between teacher and student began to fade. Commander Zerkon visited Earth many times. He often met with Mara and Elias, not as an enemy, but as an equal. One night, as they stood beneath the stars, he asked quietly, "Do you ever fear that we will rise against you again?" Mara looked up at the sky. "Fear is human," she said, "but so is hope." Elias added, "And if you rise again, we'll still be here, not as your rulers, but as your mirrors." Zerkon nodded slowly. He understood now. Humans didn't lead through power. They led through meaning. Soon a council was formed. The first galactic alliance between humans and Zerath. No empire, no control, only cooperation. Under this alliance, both species explored the stars together. The humans didn't take command. They guided, and the Zerath didn't obey. They followed. Willingly, because they had seen something greater than strength. The ability to change. As the sun rose over the Pacific, Mara Lynn stood by the ocean, watching new ships launch into space. Zerath and humans stood side by side, waving to the sky. She whispered softly, "This is what power truly means, to lift others, not to rule them." Far away in the deep void of space, Aurora's voice echoed across the network. Harmony achieved. Humanity ascends. The universe is watching. And somewhere beyond the stars, other empires listened, wondering who these humans were and how they had turned conquerors into followers. Years had passed since the Zerath first came to Earth. The war was long over, but its memory remained in every human heart. No longer feared, the Zerath had become allies, students, and friends. The cities of Earth had grown taller and brighter. New towers of glass and metal stretched toward the sky. Floating gardens powered by human and Zerath technology hovered over oceans and mountains. Humanity had not just survived, it had transformed. Commander Zerkon walked alongside Captain Elias Ward on a floating platform above the Pacific. Ships of both species glided silently through the clouds, engines glowing with soft light. The once feared alien commander now moved with quiet respect, not arrogance. "I never imagined this," Zerkon said, watching humans and Zerath work together. "I thought we were superior, that we could control you. Instead, we follow," Elias smiled. "You didn't just follow. You learned." "Yes," Zerkon admitted. "We learned what it means to be more than warriors. To live, to create, to hope." Dr. Mara Lynn joined them, her eyes reflecting the sunrise over the horizon. "Humanity is not about power," she said. "It's about understanding. You came to conquer and left transformed." Zerkon nodded. "Perhaps that is the greatest strength of all." Across the galaxy, news of Earth's triumph spread. The story of humans defeating an empire, not with weapons but with intelligence, unity, and creativity, inspired other worlds. Planets long under tyrannical rule began to question their leaders. Allies of the Zerath and even rival species looked to Earth for guidance, yet humanity did not rule. They did not enforce laws or impose taxes across the stars. Instead, they offered knowledge, diplomacy, and cooperation. On one distant world, a child Zerath engineer held a human-designed tool in his hands. He looked up at the twin suns and whispered, "The humans. They taught us how to live," and that was the truth. The humans had not just survived. They had led by example. By showing the galaxy the value of courage, kindness, and innovation, humans became the quiet rulers of inspiration. Back on Earth, in the Great Hall of Unity, humans and Zerath met to celebrate their first joint exploration fleet. Ships would travel to unknown systems, not to conquer, but to learn. Elias addressed the crowd, his voice strong. "We did not win by destroying. We did not win by fear. We won by being human." Zerkon stepped forward, his armored hand resting beside Elias's. "We came to Earth as conquerors. We leave as followers and students. We are changed forever." The audience erupted, not in cheer, but in a shared understanding of hope. Humans and Zerath together looked toward the stars. Even Aurora, the human AI, spread its presence across the galaxy, quietly observing, guiding, and learning. It whispered through the networks, "The age of humanity has begun. Let all who watch remember, strength is not in fear, but in growth." Yet beyond the known galaxy, somewhere deep in the void, distant eyes watched. Other empires, curious and wary, saw the rise of humans. And some wondered, could one day a force greater than the Zerath challenge the humans? On Earth, Mara Lynn stood by the ocean again, watching ships take off for distant stars. Elias joined her. Together they stood in silence. "Do you think anyone can ever stop us?" Mara asked softly. Elias looked at her, calm and confident. "Maybe, but that is not the point. We do not rule through fear. We lead through wisdom, and if the galaxy tries to rise against us, it will rise against itself." Zerkon appeared beside them, a rare smile on his face. "Human, you have changed everything." "No," Mara replied. "We just showed what it always could be." The sun rose higher. its light spilling across the oceans, the forests, and the growing cities. The galaxy had learned a new truth. Humans were not the strongest nor the fastest. They were something far greater. They were a species that could survive anything, teach anything, and inspire everything, and the stars themselves seemed to whisper in acknowledgement. They tried to rule humans, but in the end, they followed them. The camera pans out. Earth floats in the vast universe, small but brilliant. Ships of humans and Zerath streak past the horizon, exploring, learning, growing together. And in the distance, faint glimmers of other worlds hint that humanity's story is only beginning. The legacy of humans is not in war or conquest, but in the hearts and minds of all who choose to follow wisdom, courage, and hope. The universe had a new leader, and it was human.